Hello, everyone. What is up? First time doing one of these. Um, I was sitting on my phone this morning, scrolling as one does, and I came across this guy, Liam Out Loud. And I was shocked because I watched a few of his videos. He is a right wing influencer, or at least that is how he appears. And I was shocked by his manipulation of rhetoric to make the left, Democrats, LGBTQ activists, minorities in general, seem powerless, seem weak. One of his videos, which I'm not going to cover, went over that. I would recommend checking it out, or not, because I would just give him clips and views. Um, but I saw this and I was really pissed off. Uh, Excuse the language, please. And I realized that I wanted to do something. And so I'm going to react to this video here, how free societies slide into totalitarianism. I'm going to analyze it with fact. I'm going to analyze it with history. And I'm going to see and disprove sort of what he's trying to talk about and what he's trying to do. Let's get it.
Future, how free societies of today slid into totalitarianism all at the same time, I'd say it didn't happen overnight. It happened step by step.
This is true. Totalitarian governments do occur step by step. This is seen in multiple regimes. Uh, Mao's China, Stalin's Soviet Union, Hitler's Germany. It's a slow accumulation of power, um, but the way at which it happens isn't quite what he says.
In phases so subtle, most people hardly noticed them as they unfolded. It began in the 2010s with a shift in language. Words like diversity, equity, inclusion, and safety spread through schools, HR departments, media, and even churches.
Okay, this is where I'm going to do my first fact check. Okay, so Oxford Language defines totalitarianism as a system of government that is centralized and dictatorial and requires complete subservience to the state. And of course, democracy is the opposite to this. Um, the claim that DEI began in 2010 with a shift in language is false. Most DEI supporters argue that it began in 1964 with the U.S. Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's according to Forbes, which outlawed discrimination based on race, religion, sex, color, and national origin. That's coming from CNN. At its inception, DEI, or in this case, the U.S. Civil Rights Act of 1964, was primarily based on addressing race inequality, and as it expanded, it grew to encompass gender in the 1970s, which coincided with Shirley Chisholm's running for U.S. president in the 1972 Democratic Party. Um, in this case, Shirley was both black and a woman. In 1980, DEI grew to include LGBTQ plus religious and ethnic groups. And then fast forward to 2020, where positive things such as hashtag Black Lives Matter and hashtag Stop AAPI Hate cause companies to adopt DEI as a way to promote inclusivity. And I think this also comes with the notion that DEI is somehow unfair. DEI only includes qualified people. So even if you're, black, brown, gay, or a woman, it's going to allow you still have to be qualified to run for the position. It just allows you an equal spot at the table. So when you have that position, you have certain you have the ability to take that position. And DEI doesn't only benefit black and brown communities. It also supports white women, and that's based on lowering the gender pay gap and consideration of kids in the workplace environment. And that's from political consultant Haley Lickstein via CNN. And it also benefits LGBTQ plus communities through Pride Month, which has been adopted by companies recently and recognizes the contributions of LGBTQ plus individuals to the U.S. This idea of DEI being generally bad is an idea rooted in right-wing ideology, bigotry, and racism, and so it should not be something which is continued or supported.
They sounded kind, but their meanings quietly changed. Disagreement was no longer a point of view. It was branded as harm or right-wing extremism. Lessons turned into directives. Bureaucrats, HR officers, and activists set the tone, while the rest of us nodded along.
So going from DEI to the rise of totalitarianism is just a non sequitur. And this really shows how the manipulation of rhetoric really can, it's really powerful. Yes, removal of protests, the shift from learning to ideological manipulation, and powerful individuals setting the tone did cause the rise to totalitarianism, but that's not directly because of the left, as this guy is claiming, as liam.out.loud is claiming. And I have some examples of that. Censorship under Donald Trump increased. Anna Gomez via PBS states, the president pressured Paramount over the 60-minute segment. In this case, the 60-minute segment refers to the segment between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, which Trump brought a lawsuit against. The FCC pressured CBS over the 60-minute segment. And it wasn't until we saw both the settlement of the president's lawsuit and also the concessions that you mentioned to eliminate all diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, and to install a media monitor that will basically self-censor CBS's content, that this deal was approved. End quote. The censorship of media is a cause of totalitarianism, and it is being propagated by the President of the United States, which is an incredibly dangerous sentiment coming from the most powerful man in the world. The shift from learning to ideological manipulation also did occur, with Texas becoming the third state in 2 years, as of 2025, to approve a law placing the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms. This sets the tone for religious indoctrination and religious control, violating an inalienable freedom of U.S. citizens, which is the freedom of religion, and blurring the line between church and state, a principle which the Constitution aimed to prevent. And powerful individuals also do set the tone of the government, not as activists and leftists, as he claims, but Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, controlling a government department, Doge. Although Elon Musk was not originally born in America, he was born in South Africa. So the placing of a government office to both a non-American and a rich non-American, an incredibly rich non-American, is incredibly dangerous and harmful.
And history shows how easily small, disciplined groups can steer much larger bodies. 1%.
That is true. Small groups can control narratives, such as Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, who's behind the propaganda portraying Jewish individuals as evil, and other. In the modern day, this can be extrapolated to right-wing activists, such as Charlie Kirk.
Activists in authority positions, joined by roughly 9% sympathizers, can effectively direct the 90% who remain passive. That's how soft words began to carry hard rules.
Not necessarily.
By the late 2010s, campus-style politics spilled into the wider culture.
Campus-style politics have always been part of the political climate in America since the Vietnam War, where they were pivotal in the removal of the United States from Vietnam.
Statues were toppled, protests escalated, and leaders bent to the mob. Debate gave way to theater. Ordinary people learned to keep their heads down, say the line, and just move on.
This is true, but again, not necessarily because this content creator, liam.out.loud, is claiming that because of the left, the right has to do these things, where in reality it's the opposite, where marginalized communities, women, LGBTQ, left, and Democrats in general have to do these things to avoid governmental persecution, which is not okay.
But then came the crisis of 2020, COVID. Safety became the master key. Governments, platforms, and employers asserted sweeping control over daily life, not with tanks, but with memos, mandates, and press conferences.
So that is true. They did impose a significant amount of control as a measure to protect the general public from the early stages of the virus. However, these controls were democratic. They were passed by Congress and reached the necessary stages to indicate they came about legally. And this is how democracy works. This is not how totalitarianism operates. The use of bureaucratic channels causes the policies passed to be lawful and legal. And this is a demonstration of democracy. The citizens elect policymakers to form policy, which then helps America.
Questions were flagged as misinformation. Temporary measures hardened into permanent.
So misinformation did spread through COVID with QAnon conspiracies and prominent influencers like Joe Rogan promoting ivermectin, which was a horse drug to cure the illness, supposedly. Um, and that is not necessarily accurate. The FDA has not approved the use of ivermectin to treat COVID-19.
Rules. This is how ideologies move forward. Declare an emergency, suspend limits, and silence today's heretics in the name of tomorrow's promised salvation.
Declare an emergency, much like how Trump deployed the National Guard into Democratic U.S. cities to attack democracy.
Since then, punishment has shifted from mobs to systems. The pressure was no longer cultural, it was structural. Licenses are threatened or pulled, credentials voided, investigations opened for incorrect remarks, algorithms quietly throttle reach, parents questioning school boards are treated as security risks.
This is really this style of content is really dangerous because it shows how rhetoric can be manipulated really easily. Rhetoric, which Trump demonstrates against the left, uh, like indicates, like in this case, how this content creator, liam.out.loud, whose real name is Liam DeBoer, who is a Canadian citizen, in fact, and does not actually even live in America, the fact that he can take real information about the real spread of totalitarianism and twist it into this very skewed ideology to where the left is the evil and the right is the good, is very one-sided, one-dimensional, and it requires the population accepting it to be very simple-minded, let's say.
In Canada, Freedom Convoy supporters discovered donations could mean frozen bank accounts, and in the UK, comedians have been arrested over social media posts. The branding still says equity and inclusion, but the meanings have flipped. Equity levels down, inclusion excludes, and safety licenses coercion.
This is also true, but it is not because of the left. It is because measures passed by President Trump, which limit DEI, passed by the right, which limit DEI.
However, the story isn't finished. We're not in the gulags, but we are in the state that prepares people to accept them. One path ends in open tyranny, a world out of Orwell's 1984. The other is rarer, the one in a million victory where truth tellers hold the line.
Modern day MAGA and republicanism does end in electing a tyrant who opposes free speech, attacks minorities, and attacks American citizens. Uh, so, yes, I am saying Donald Trump is a tyrant. Um, but further, the connection between Orwell's 1984 and the US also holds further significance. Palantir, a surveillance company, worked with the Department of Homeland Security to track down Mexicans based on internet digital footprint. Um, which is just a clear parallel to the surveillance state in 1984. And the use of matrix imagery, I accidentally went too far past it, but the use of matrix imagery, the red pill, blue pill, is a symbol of extreme right wing ideology, with the term red pilled individual correlating to somebody who is supposedly awoken or somebody who isn't asleep anymore.
That ending is only possible
I didn't skip past it. Here it is. Okay.
if we stop pretending, if we defend the punished, and re anchor our lives in family, faith, and community.
I do agree with this. However, family, faith, and community may be an answer for some, but it's not a cure all solution for America. And further, family and community can refer to same sex marriage, black and brown communities living in safety through DEI, and Americans having the ability to form communities without the threat of persecution by the government. So when Donald Trump says we should hang the Democrats, that's not very good. It's not very good. Um,
The final chapters aren't written. Which way it goes depends on us.
no, it does not depend on us. It depends on the vote of American citizens, not Canadian citizens. Liam DeBoer.
If I were to try to explain to someone in the future how free societies have
So that was a video. Um, And I was a bit shocked when I first saw it because when I first watched it, I was like I could immediately see like I started forming an argument just in my head as soon as I watched it. Um, but actually doing the research behind it really it's really enlightening. It's really quite fascinating just to see the stuff that's pumped out by the right wing um, and the right as an attempt to skew the rhetoric of a voting population. It's really scary. All of the Most of the things he said, had varying levels of truth, and I think that's what makes this type of content the most dangerous. It's just close enough to being real, um, where it really requires the viewer to think critically and like disseminate information to successfully sort of realize the message and realize the uh, politically charged message behind it. Um, and with this type of content, it's really critical that you think critically and you cite your sources, you check your sources, you don't think blindly, you think and make an opinion based on fact. Um, and so when I saw this video, I was really irritated, as I said in the introduction. Um, so much so that I decided to make a reaction video. Uh, but that's not the only way you can engage with this type of content. Uh, get mad, get angry over the state of the world. Protest in the streets. Talk. Democracy dies in silence. Vote. Write to your local congressperson or legislator asking about the government, and think. It's not illegal yet. Really form an opinion for yourself based on fact. Don't just take something that somebody says as given. Um, and this is extremely important. This is an extremely important thing for me. I will attach my sources in the description of this video. Please fact check me. Please go over my words. Please check. Question me. It is very important that uh, the information that I am saying is as factual as possible, and I have worked very hard to make sure it is. But please check me on that. Um, just a quick note. I never use AI. All of the information is sourced by me, cited by me, and referenced by me. Um, yeah, and if you enjoyed this video, please go like and subscribe. This is a pilot video, and thus how it performs will depend if I make more. I might not make more, even if it does really good. I don't think it will, but even if it does, I just needed to get something out there. I really needed to just address this, even if no one sees it. I just really need to do it for myself. So thank you for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.